Looking to move from Las Vegas to Michigan? Well, in this video, we're going to cover everything from housing to casinos so you can be ready or at least know if Michigan is the state for you. Hello and welcome. My name is Matt Talbot. This is the Living in Detroit channel. And in this video, we want to talk a little bit about moving from Las Vegas to Michigan. There's obviously some major differences, and there's a few differences in this video that we want to discuss with you so you can understand a little bit more specifics if you're thinking about that move. We have a lot of people that move here from Nevada, specifically the Las Vegas area. And so we figured we'd make a video for more people like those that are moving here to Michigan so you can dive into some of the statistics regarding the real estate market, a little bit about the major differences, some of the housing statistics, as well as some of the educational statistics and other information from moving from Vegas to Michigan. So jumping right in, the first section of this video, we want to talk a little bit about the general population, the differences between Las Vegas and Detroit in this case. The Detroit population is 632,000 and the Vegas population is 646,000. So the city of Detroit and the city of Las Vegas, as an example, are kind of like-sized cities. They're really close when it comes to the city limits as far as the amount of people. Now, Michigan's population hovers over 10 million as of recent statistics, and Nevada's population only 3.14 million. So depending on where you're moving at in Michigan from Vegas or from Nevada, obviously there's a much bigger state when it comes to population, 10 million compared to 3 million throughout the state. Now, if you're focusing on Southeast Michigan, again, the city of Detroit city limits is 700,000 people roughly. And if you talk about Southeast Michigan as a whole and just Metro Detroit, you move into 5 million plus real fast just in the Southeast Michigan community. So everything within about an hour or so of Detroit, at that point, you're really going to jump into a 5-6 million person population real fast. I think Vegas has a little bit larger city limits and stuff like that. And there's a lot of surrounding cities as well too in Vegas. But as a whole, there's going to be a lot more people in Michigan than in Las Vegas. So people might not think about it that way. People might not think of Detroit as this big city and stuff like that, but it's a similar size city as far as population compared to Vegas. And then, like I said, the entire state is much bigger on your home move, if that's any influence to you along the way. Up next is one of the obvious ones. We try to talk about weather a little bit in the videos. If you don't know an interesting fact about the Midwest, we always talk about the weather. It's just like the thing to do. You're at the gas station, you're like, hey, it's hot out today. Hey, it's raining out today. It's so cold. The snow is horrible. I don't know why. It's just like in our blood to talk about the weather. It's just an interesting Midwest thing. But obviously, you're moving from the desert to Michigan. It's obviously hot compared to cold sometimes of the year, but we want to give you some specifics so you can understand what that looks like and the data points around that if you're thinking about that home purchase in Detroit, Michigan, or Michigan as a whole. Okay, so first and foremost, Vegas gets 5 inches of rain a year compared to 33 inches of rain in Detroit. Obviously, a drastic difference there. Vegas July high is 103 degrees. Detroit July high is 83 degrees. So we have spikes into the 90s. It's super rare we hit 100 degrees in Michigan. I know that Vegas and a lot of Nevada being in the desert, there's just like week after week after week of like 95, 98, 100 degrees and stuff like that. We don't necessarily have that. Our winters do get cold, but our summers, winters and summers together, our summers do hit some peaks into the 90s for sure. But for the most part, like midsummer, you're hovering really from like high 70s, into the mid 90s and stuff like that. So the summers here are absolutely gorgeous. That scorching hot summer. But of course, we do get those cold winters. Vegas January low is 37 degrees. Detroit January low is 18 degrees. I always see these statistics, and when you do this research online, again, it's showing 18 degrees. It does dip colder than that for sure a lot of times throughout the year, not always in January necessarily. And the wind chill is another factor, right? So just like Vegas, I'm sure 100-degree heat, depending on the day and the amount of sun and all that stuff, it can feel a lot hotter. Well, same thing in Detroit regarding the winter as well too. It might be 18 degrees, but with the wind chill is like 0 or negative, it gets real cold real fast in that environment. I don't know. People say from like Nevada and from Definitely Arizona, like it's dry heat, it's different and stuff like that. But I don't know, like I've been to Vegas and it gets pretty darn hot. If it's 100 degrees, I don't care if it's dry, humid, what it comes from, you're baking out there, right? So that is a major difference in my opinion. Obviously, is the summers here are absolutely gorgeous. Yes, you got to deal with winters, but like we say in a lot of these videos, depending on where you're moving for, we have seasons. So argue with me on seasons, because if you don't think spring and fall are the best, you're missing out. You don't understand. Vegas average relative humidity 30% compared to Detroit 70%. That's the actual difference in humidity, like I just talked about. So it is significantly more humid here for sure. And of a lot of people, again, they say that dry heat's a different type of heat. I don't care when it gets to 100. 100 is 100. Average annual snowfall in Vegas is 0.3 compared to Michigan, which is about 40 to 50 inches. That can vary depending on what state, where in the state you're looking to move. So again, huge variation throughout the amount of snowfall depending on where you're looking. If you're looking in Southeast Michigan, where we work out of, there's a lot less snowfall than if you're on the west side of the state. We get what's called lake effect snow, so the weather moves across Lake Michigan quite often, and the way that it moves across, it pulls up a lot of moisture, and you get a lot of lake effect snow on the west side of the state. And the farther north you get, typically you're going to get more snow as well too. It's just colder up there, right? So the precipitation, yikes, creates more snowfall in the winter in those areas. Up next, stay tuned, because cost of living is an important piece for a lot of people. Before we jump into cost of living, Mike made a good point. It kind of ties in with weather, and basically, we have more water than Nevada has. He's like, how do you word that? Just saying we have more water than you. I mean, that's definitely a fact. It's not necessarily tied in with weather, but the Great Lakes, obviously here in Michigan, there's tons and tons of fresh water. You obviously don't get that in the middle of the desert, and that's a huge benefit for a lot of people. And depending on how you look at statistics, how you look at the future, all this stuff, that could be, something as an important piece of owning real estate in a state like Michigan, where you have that fresh water. I know there's other places in the country where fresh water in some big cities like Denver and different places I've heard, have issues with the amount of water use and stuff like that. So we typically don't have that here in Michigan. Not that we just want to waste it, of course, but we do have the Great Lakes, and we do have a lot of fresh water compared to the desert. So not really a weather difference, but a major difference. Okay, cost of living. Cost of living is 5.5% cheaper in Michigan as a whole than Vegas. Cost of living is 18% cheaper in Detroit than Vegas. Most notable difference between cost of food and transportation. So food and transportation are going to be the biggest differences when it comes to cost of living. Significantly cheaper in Michigan as a whole, about 6%. And if you move to the city of Detroit compared to Vegas, you're 18%. So close to 20% less expensive in Detroit. I know that the Vegas real estate market has changed over the last couple of years. I know for a while it's super, super hot. I think it's kind of cooled down a little bit. Don't quote me on that. I'm not an agent there. We do have several clients that just moved there, but we also have had several clients that are moving back home currently from Vegas. So that cost of living is a big piece, depending on where you're looking, is averaging between 6 and 18% in the state of Michigan here. So for a lot of people, that's why a lot of people are moving home. I can't tell you how often. I actually have a client that just moved here from California permanently. He's very excited to be here, and just talking with him, I want to start interviewing some of our clients that have moved from across the country, because talking with him about like the differences in California, what's happening, the struggles, how he sees the real estate market, how he sees the overall environment compared to the Midwest, specifically Michigan, and what he likes about it, some of the pros and cons of both, is very, very interesting. But again, Michigan, cost of living, we're on that particular piece, 6 to 18% depending on where you're looking in Michigan. So big difference as far as your monetary savings. If you're working from home, great, you can keep the same job and spend less. Up next, an important piece for a lot of people, a lot of families, a lot of individuals, of course, is education. So the differences between Nevada and Michigan and the educational system. Public schools, to start off, Michigan has 2,959 public schools. Nevada has 678 public schools. Obviously, way more people. Hopefully, there's way more schools. That makes sense. 1 being the best and 50 being the worst. Nevada was ranked 48th out of 50th. Michigan was ranked 29th out of 50th overall public school quality. This ranking system was based off categories like safety, staff to ratio, graduation rate, etc. Let me quote this article, because that's not my opinion. That is the article's opinions from worldpopulationreview.com. So there's a bunch of data on here that my team threw three together. That's from worldpopulationdata.com. So Michigan's ranked, according to them, significantly better in overall public schools, according to that statistics deep dive for your own information. And if you want specifics on some areas and different school districts and stuff like that, we're happy to show you around. We can't tell you one school is better than other in Michigan as a licensed real estate agent. It's got to kind of tread lightly there, but again, we're quoting this article here. So average annual college tuition, Michigan about $16,000, Nevada is about $8,000. So it's more expensive to go to college here in Michigan compared to Nevada. Comparing the top two universities, same thing. We actually compare University of Michigan to University of Nevada, Vegas. It's close to twice as expensive. In-state tuition, $15,000. Vegas is $8,000. Out-of-state tuition, $53,000. Out-of-state tuition in Nevada is $24,000. Acceptance rates is much higher, however, in the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, 83% compared to the acceptance rate of Michigan's 20%. So it's way harder to get into the University of Michigan. Tough comparison. We try to kind of show you some of the statistics if you're thinking about school here. We have a lot of other information throughout this channel on universities, some of the public colleges, and some of the different options that you have when it comes to private schools and stuff like that throughout Michigan. So there's a lot of data there. But again, I think overall Michigan has good school systems. There's a lot of statistics there, and specifically post-graduation school is very heavy in Southeast Michigan. When you have University of Michigan, you have Wayne State University. There's a lot of physicians, a lot of docs that move here, a lot of medical students as well too. We work very heavily with those people, do tons of physician program loans and stuff like that. So all those types of people, it's very heavy here in Michigan. Lots of education happening, lots of smart people hanging out here in Michigan. So that's always a good thing to surround yourself with smart people. Okay, up next is the fun stuff, bars and casinos. Okay, let's be real. Let's just hedge this whole conversation. I understand that Detroit and Michigan compared to going to the Las Vegas Strip is not the same world. Okay, I get that. I totally understand. But for a lot of people living in Vegas, moving to Detroit or moving to Southeast Michigan or moving to Michigan as a whole, maybe that's an important piece for them, right? They're thinking about the move, but they do like the nightlife. They like going out. They like doing their stuff. So we want to give you some statistics of what that looks like. Again, some of these statistics, I don't know, not always apples to apples when you talk about the different size of states, but just to roll through them with you if you're interested in some of these stats. There's about 1,600 bars in Nevada, the majority of which are in Las Vegas, of course, compared to 3,200 bars in Michigan. Americans like to drink. In fact, Americans consumed over 8 billion gallons of alcohol a year. Nevada ranked number 4 and Michigan 25th for gallons of alcohol per capita consumed. I'm not surprised there whatsoever. So obviously there's a little bit less drinking overall in Michigan compared to Nevada, with Vegas being there. An interesting fact that a lot of people don't know is Detroit, unlike a lot of cities, do have a handful of casinos in the city of Detroit. Obviously, not to deep dive too far here, but if you're into gambling, you like going to the casino, you like to go play blackjack a little bit, have some fun with it, and you're moving from Nevada, Detroit could be a good target area for you because you're still allowed to do such things, as a lot of cities don't have that. So the statistics there. Las Vegas has 170 casinos, where Michigan has 26. If you're moving to Michigan and you like to gamble, here's the 3 fun casinos to check out. These are all downtown Detroit: Greektown, MGM Grand, Motor City. They're all right downtown Detroit in different areas as well too. So those are kind of a focal point in the city for a lot of people. I think a lot of people they'll go downtown, they'll get dinner, maybe they'll go to a casino and hit like a Wings game or a Pistons game or a Lions game, what have you, right? Tigers game, and maybe or maybe the reverse. They'll go to the game, they'll hit the casino after. So for a lot of people, it can be a fun night out. The casinos are nice in downtown Detroit as a whole. They have beautiful hotels as well too. So if you're living locally and people want to come stay, like we just had a celebration for my grandpa a few weeks ago. I had some family in town, and my cousins from different places decided to stay in Detroit. They stayed at the casinos, allowed them to have some fun while they were here. So kind of an interesting fact a lot of people don't think about, but there is some correlation in the fact that Detroit allows casinos, Michigan allows casinos as a whole, and there's some different vibes there. There's a couple other casinos that pop in my mind. There's a lot of throughout the state of Michigan, a lot of Indian-owned, Native American-owned casinos throughout the state. One that comes to mind is Firekeepers in Battle Creek. So if you're heading from the west side of the state, or if you live in the west side of the state, close to Kalamazoo and Battle Creek area, there's a casino there. And then there's another one, Turtle Creek. That's another good one. I really like Turtle Creek in Traverse City. So if you go up north, that's one in Traverse City. But if you go up north as a whole, like Christmas, Michigan, way up in the UP, is a cool little town, and they have a little casino there as well too, which is kind of fun because you can go to like a lake house, or you go hiking, or you go camping like on the west side or way up north in Michigan, and there's there's these little Native American owned casinos, which are fun to go to and stuff like that, in my opinion. Again, we don't recommend over gambling or anything like that, but if you're into, just having a night at the casino or having a couple drinks and, checking out the casino, we have a lot of that throughout the state of Michigan. My wife does not like that. If I spend like $100 at the casino, she like freaks out. She thinks like we're gonna go poor. But anyway, I do enjoy occasionally grabbing a drink and with a buddy or with her and playing some blackjack or what have you at the casino. So some other things happening in Detroit that we noted here. I like some of these. There's a plethora of other options as well too, but fun shows to check out if you're moving to Detroit. Broadway in Detroit, Fisher Theater. I love the Fisher Theater. It's super cool. It's old school. Another great one, Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle, also here in Southeast Michigan. I know we get a lot of flack because we compare these states like to Michigan, and the statistics are Nevada to Michigan or Vegas to Michigan. Of course, we talk a lot about Southeast Michigan on this channel. A lot of people give us flack for that. Like, that's not all of Michigan. I get it. We happen to be based out of Southeast Michigan, and, a big portion, the majority of the population is in Southeast Michigan. So most people moving here are moving to Southeast Michigan just statistically. Anyway, Mark Wrigley's Comedy Castle, that's a really cool one. It's in Royal Oak, which is technically Oakland Township. It's only 35 minutes from Detroit. Royal Oak's a great area for a lot of people. We have tons of videos on this channel for Royal Oak, but I like Mark Wrigley's. You go there, it's kind of a small scene. You get like a pre-booked table, or ticket. You sit down at the table, it's like where your seat, and you get to check out the comedy, and I think that's awesome. Detroit House of Comedy as well too. Surprisingly, I live like right there, and I have not checked that out, and I really want to because I'm really into comedy, and I am slacking on that one. So Detroit House of Comedy is also on our list here. So up next, housing, state of the end. There's some very interesting statistics when it comes to housing, and of course, if you're following our channel, you're most likely thinking about moving here to Detroit, Southeast Michigan, Michigan as a whole. This one's for you. Okay, last but not least, housing. So a lot of people, they check out these in-studio videos that we do, these kind of like face-to-camera, I don't know, what do you call these? Like talking head videos? That's what they're called, Mike? These talking head videos. So we try to show some B-roll. We try to give you some stuff. The point of these is to really educate out-of-town buyers. Listen, if you live locally, great. We work with tons of sellers. We sell hundreds of homes over the last couple years and stuff like that, locally as well too. So if you're thinking about listing your house, holler at us. But more importantly, the housing statistics, we want to give you blatant statistics. People always say like, show me the house, like show more tours. So we've done a few of those recently. We're incorporating more of those home tours as well too, so you can see the inside of the house as well as some of the surrounding communities, which we're happy to do those. But like, there's like a million real estate websites out there. You can always see pictures of homes. We want to paint the picture of the community. Southeast Michigan, a little bit on Michigan, a little bit on the whole thing here, so you can understand if it's a good state to move to or not. That is the goal of the channel, just so you know. Okay, so housing statistics. Average house price in Michigan, just under $300,000, $2,976 on single family homes only, and move up to $300,000. So that statistic's been really kind of hovering the last little while. So your average home in Michigan as a whole is about $300,000. Median price compared to average price goes down a little bit at $250,000. And this is an important piece. Average days on market is 33 days. So on all the MLS across the state, we're at 33 days on market on our MLS. So about a month ago pending. That's overpriced homes. That's homes that need a lot of work. That's brand new homes. There's a lot of different, data in there. So for the most part, when you're seeing 30 days in the market, a lot of the more move-in ready things, a lot of the hotter listings are selling way faster than that. Okay, so $300,000 average home price. Now jumping to Vegas, median price was $415,000. So you go from the median in Michigan, $250,000 to $415,000. So that's a big jump, right? That's a significant jump. That's actually been up 6.4% after over the last couple years here. This is an interesting stat though. Days on market, 51 days. So although the home prices are much more expensive in Vegas, here in Michigan, they're selling faster, so it's arguably a more competitive market. Now, you're looking at Michigan as a whole, you're looking at rural communities, you're looking at the city communities, you're kind of blending a lot of things in. So depending on where you're looking in Michigan, I think a lot of people, want to move here and they think like, oh, my home price is going to be half the price. And that's the case for a lot of people. A lot of times people are moving from Chicago or New York or Los Angeles. They're living in very affluent areas and they have a $2 million house, and they can move here and they get the same house for $800,000. That happens quite a bit. However, if you're in a more competitive marketplace, a lower price point, There's going to be a lot of competition still here in Michigan. It's a very, very hectic market as of 2024. So days on market significantly less in Michigan than it is in Nevada if you dive into that. Another important piece, price per square foot. Obviously, if the home prices are more expensive, price per square foot is typically more expensive. Here in Michigan, it's 183 compared to Vegas at 254. So big jump there as well too. Average lot size in Vegas. This is an interesting stat. Average lot size is 7,405, the smallest of any state. So if you look at Las Vegas as a whole, the lot size, I didn't even know this till I got to the statistic. I read through some of this stuff proactively, but the average lot size is 7,400 square feet, smallest of any state. That's wild. 7,400 square feet is very small. I've sold homes that big. So interesting stat there. Build types in Vegas, Mediterranean, ranch, California ranch, Spanish, split level, Tudor, all that good stuff. Here in Michigan, we have a little bit, way different home styles. If you kind of look at the two, I'm sure if you're moving here and you're looking at, online and checking out different listings, you'll probably see that. But we have ranch, colonials, Cape Cods, bungalows, farmhouses, craftsmen's, Tudors, cabins, and apartments. So definitely a different build type, different build materials when you're talking about, surviving a winter. And when you're talking about some of the older homes here in Michigan that date way, way back compared to, a house that needs to live in the middle of the desert. So different types of homes here in Michigan. Hopefully we'll pop up some both throughout this section here to kind of show you the different comparisons of these home types so you kind of see the different vibes. But, again, you're moving from a desert community to very much a all seasons area. Okay, so there's lots of big trees in Michigan. The leaves fall in the fall. There's a lot of greenness in the summer and stuff like that too. So you see a lot of that. I had a good friend and client that moved here a few years ago, and he was living in Vegas for a lot of years. And I was like, well, what's one of the reasons why you moved back? And his response, one of the biggest response was, I was just so tired of browns. He's like, I needed to move back and see more green with the vegetation, with the trees, and with all that stuff. And so Michigan has lots of that. In Southeast Michigan, of course, but if you spread through the west side of the state, you go north, you go up in the UP, whether you live there or visit there or just kind of enjoy it as a whole during summertime, during spring, throughout the seasons. There's some beautiful, beautiful times for luscious green vegetation. The fall is awesome. The fall colors, looks like fruity pebbles everywhere. It's so cool. So lots of good stuff there as well too. So little housing statistics, a little bit about the weather, a little bit about the bar scene, the casinos. Is Detroit, is Michigan a target area for you? If you're moving from Nevada, let us know in the comments below. Fill out the Calendly link. We're happy to connect and give you some more information. What areas are we missing? People from around the world, people from around the country. What areas have we not compared? Because we want to continue to compare these for you. We get a lot of feedback. People appreciate these comparisons and understand the differences on their home move. Let us know in the comments below what area is for you. My name is Matt Talbot. I'm associate broker of the Talbot team. We sell hundreds of homes here in Michigan. We absolutely live for it. If you're looking to buy or sell next 3 to 6 months, let us know ASAP.